peace.
Peace, peace. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. It's kind of dark back there.
Oh yeah. Hold up. Let me see if I can get some light up in here. Um.
We got Benji, Socrates in the building.
There we go. Yo, yo, yo.
There
Peace,
we go.
peace,
Yeah,
peace,
peace.
peace,
There we go.
peace.
Now we cooking with gas. What's good, my brother?
There we go. What's good, my brother? How are you?
All right. So let me ask you, where you checking in? Where you reporting from?
Right now, I'm in Midtown. You know what I'm saying? Just I'm from the Bronx originally, but
Okay.
right now I'm just staying in Midtown for the time being and
Okay.
shit. But you know what I'm saying? Oh, New York, just in general, New York, born and raised.
Word. So the Bronx, like, you seem kind of young. Um,
Yeah.
you in your like 20s?
Yeah, I'm in my 20s. I'm 26. Just turned
Yeah.
26 last month.
So why the boom bap and not the Bronx drill, which is popping right now?
That's a great question. Like, I'm not gonna cap. I've always been interested in the boom bap sound. I
Mhm.
grew up listening to a lot of DJ Premier, Alchemist, um, you name it, Pete Rock. And that's sort of like the sound I gravitated to the most.
Right.
And by the time I was really making my rise as like a young producer, I was really into sampling, and it didn't matter of like which kind, whether it was boom bap or drill. Drill didn't even exist when I started
Right.
really, making beats. There was a lot of trap shit going on, but it wasn't my stilo. I didn't really like it. I felt like it was a little too played out, and it just wasn't for me. I felt like that raw essence is what pushed me forward towards like making boom bap my
Now,
sound.
now, did you have like older brothers or like siblings that's where you
Absolutely,
got it from?
absolutely. My oldest brother, he was the one who put me on to like a lot of like the old school hip hop. He had Wu-Tang CDs, Lock CDs.
Yep.
My earliest memory of like me getting into hip hop was through him playing like Diplomatic Immunity.
Right.
Was through him playing like First Infantry by the Alchemist. So a lot of those memories, and like,
Right.
yeah, he was like a big Ghostface fan, so like
Yeah.
heavy on the Wu-Tang,
Yeah. The Woo.
and like Capone and Noriega. So just just that type of shit just like inspired me forward. And now I would say like I still listen to those artists
Right.
100%, and I try to like emulate their sound into my sound, you
Got
know.
you. Got you. So, what was the first piece of equipment that you started using when you started making beats?
Honestly, it was my iPhone. Like it was straight off the iPhone. No equipment. Like if we're talking real like hardware, MIDI
No, 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 hold on,
keyboard,
hold on. Let's go back to the iPhone thing because this right here is an iPhone.
that's
You were making
a
beats on something
powerful
like this.
device in your hand, brother. That's a powerful device in your hand, and I still
Wow.
make beats off of it. I
What do
still
you have a
make beats.
program?
Yeah, the program I was using back then was called Cross DJ Pro, and I
Uh huh.
was using it in conjunction with GarageBand. So I was only limited to 8 slices,
Mm.
8 chops on a sample or on a drum break, and it gave me like basically 2 channels, literally like a DJ board. So one record and the other record. One record would have the sample, the other record would have the drum break. I'd probably
Right.
loop up the drum break, and I'll just throw my chops on there, and I'll record them into GarageBand. And it was really my earliest version of an MPC.
So,
And yeah,
yeah, I'm old school. You know what I mean? I'll be 50 next month. And another brother told me that I interviewed said he used one. I'm like, one of these? He
yep,
makes beats on one of these. I'm like, are you serious?
yep.
Like, is
And
it
I
is
still
it is
use
it
them.
this pads like does it like virtual pads you hit and all of that?
Yeah. It's virtual
Wow.
pads basically. So, and you could set your own slices. You could edit them.
Hmm.
Now we have programs like Koala, Beatmaker Pro, and people there's still cats who use like GarageBand and shit. But
Yeah.
For me, it was Cross DJ Pro. That was the
Right.
first one. I was doing beat sets off of there. I was making beats off of there. I produced entire projects off of there. Some of like my most notable projects, the beats came off of the iPhone.
Wow.
And obviously, I didn't stick with the iPhone the whole way through.
Hmm.
I gravitated towards like the Kai gear. I had a MPK Mini, and I would use that with Reasons. I had
Right.
Reasons 8, and so that was like when I started really getting heavy into my boom bap
Yeah.
bag. Just what I'm saying, chopping up drum breaks, primo style,
Mhm.
going heavy
So
into it.
with the phone, what were you doing? You were just digging off the phone, like going to a
Digging.
website?
I was just digging. What I would do is I would download the samples off of my computer,
Okay.
and I would basically email them to myself, like the MP3s or the waves, and I will import them into Cross DJ Pro. But before that, actually, in Cross DJ Pro, what you was able to do was you was able to dig through SoundCloud. They
Okay.
let you dig through SoundCloud, and there will be certain pages that uploaded a lot of rare funk
Right.
joints, and they'll throw on like hour-long mixes. So I would be sitting there scrubbing through the entire song, trying to figure out like which joints got the hottest breaks, what parts I could loop up, what parts I could chop up. I would always throw in like 70s soul mix, or like 80s funk, or like Italian. One of them was called Habibi Funk. And I think they still be getting their plays today. And I would just always try to just dig, no matter what it
Right.
was.
Right. So you making that fire on the cell phone. What if the phone rings? What happens?
And that program, then I have to
Oh,
restart the whole shit.
oh
This
wow.
happened. This happened
So
to me
your
during
mom could be
beat sets.
calling you next thing you know, you making some fire, your mom call you and it's like,
Man, it happened, man. It happens. But like obviously, like it saves the progress. I just gotta restart the program,
right.
which what I'm saying
Also it save
is
what you made.
it's gonna save what I made. It's gonna
Oh,
definitely
okay.
save. It's gonna say at least save the chops and everything
Right,
that I've laid out. However, like if I'm live chopping it, which I do, I don't like to program. Like I don't
right,
like to put anything in. I like to, what I'm saying. I guess humanize it.
right,
The progress would be lost.
right,
However, like working around certain things, then I realize, oh, I can just
right.
slice shit while I'm on airplane mode. Now I got to
Yeah,
be on do not disturb in airplane mode. A lot
right,
of people
right,
when they see my shit and do not disturb, that's the reason. Like I'm
right,
I'm making
right.
beats,
Wow.
and
Yeah, that's crazy. So
I be
was
on the
you
train with it. I be
really
on the
making
train with it
beats? You put in your earpiece and just be
right here. This is how I do it.
so anytime you get an idea and you got this and just bang out anywhere,
Yeah,
going
I
through it.
hear I'll hear a sample playing in a cafe. I'll hear like one of the old heads playing some fire shit. I'm
Right,
like, hey OG, what's that? Oh, so and so. It's the stylistics. It's Marvin Gaye, whatever. This is the song. I appreciate you. I go up, screen record it on YouTube, upload it into one of my programs that I make beats off of, and it's all said and done. I could import my own drums. I got drum kits loaded on my phone for whenever, drum breaks loaded up. So I'm always ready to go. I'm always on
wow.
go with it.
That's crazy. So you using a cell phone, was it due to like that's all you had as far as
That's all I
financially?
had. That's all I had. That's all I had, but also that's all I needed. Like I
Mm,
figured that it wasn't like I ain't need the NPC. I ain't need the machine, I of course I would love it, but I have access to those machines and those gear now,
right.
and I still don't use it
Yeah,
because I could make do with what I had. It was
right,
about adapting to my environment and learning how to use the resources I had at my disposal.
right. So
So yeah,
so you went from the iPhone to now you're using more hardware, right?
Yeah, but I'm still using an iPhone. I'm predominantly using the iPhone, and I'm using a lot of DAWs like Ableton. Like
Okay.
I've used practically every DAW in existence. You
Right.
name it, I've put my hands on it.
Hmm.
So whether it's Logic, FL,
Hmm.
Ableton, Pro Tools, you name
Right.
it, I done experimented with it. MPC machines.
Hmm. But so do you feel the workflow is easier using your iPhone?
Oh, OD. It's too easy.
Mm.
Actually, it's way too easy. Like sometimes it's a lot of people may think it's tedious because it's a lot of
The screen is so small. Like it's like I was like, how could
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, it is, but it makes you like hone in and like
Uh-huh.
I guess I'm a very creative mind, and it allowed me to just break through certain barriers and be more experimental. Um, like the boom bap sound is hard to capture off the iPhone, obviously, because it's all
Right.
digital. I
Right.
need that dust. I need that, I
Right.
need that grit. So it's hard to emulate it
Hmm.
using such a
Right.
um futuristic hardware.
Right.
Like this
Absolutely.
shit sounds
Absolutely.
digital. It sounds robotic. So when I'm really looking for those boom bap joints, I'm trying to get the dustiest shit, and that's when I probably load up the MPC. That's when I'll probably just go into Ableton and just
Right.
start bugging out.
So do you go record digging, like vinyl digging?
Oh hell yeah, for
Okay, so
sure.
you do vinyl dig.
I
And you
definitely
go,
vinyl
okay.
dig.
Okay.
I always recommend people to visit record shops
Mhm.
and do your digging there because I feel like yeah, making beats is cool and chopping them up through YouTube and all that shit is cool and all. However, like digging is its own art, you
It
know.
is. It
It's
is.
its own art and it's very rewarding when you pick up a record that, what I'm saying, like you never heard before, an artist you never heard before and you spend $3 on it, $5 on it, got
Right.
it from the dollar bin, even 20
Right.
bucks. And
Right.
it's so rewarding. It got so many gems on it.
Right.
It's no other better feeling. I
Right.
promise you.
Now, do you stay away from A1 Records because it seems like everyone goes there? Do you stay away from there, or do you frequent? It seems like everybody you know
I
go
probably
there.
went to I probably went to A1 maybe once in my life. I
Uh-huh.
have my spots. I don't want to say I gatekeep my spots, but I got my spots. I got my plugs
Throughout
and
the five
shit
boroughs.
throughout the five boroughs. I've been to probably every record store throughout the five boroughs.
Mm.
My favorite record store, uh, and there was a record store that shut down. I went to NYU. There was a record store. I believe that was like on 12th Street,
Right.
and I that's where I got my most of my records. Some of my favorites cuts. I remember picking up a Joe Simon record from there. The one Primo Flip
Right.
for the Gangstar track. There was so many cuts from it, but I think that one got shut down.
Right.
Um, I fuck with Village Music World.
Okay.
I had a documentary where I like basically went digging at Village Music World. Those are the only two I'm giving up right now because the
Right.
other
Right. Right.
spots, like
Yeah. Yeah. It's still old school.
like
It's still old school. Yeah. We still
yeah,
keep it on.
those are the
You know,
only two though.
on a
But
hush.
if
All
you
right.
know,
So
if you know.
right. So when you walk into a record store, what section are you going to first? Do you have a certain section?
I have my section. My section is the soul section. People who know
Okay.
me know I go for the soul. I go for soul and gospel. Those
Hmm.
are like my main go-to spots. And it's because it's the easiest one that I know I could pick something off of.
And you can find
Um,
something, at least something, right?
I could leave with something,
Mhm.
and some people like to go to their jazz. They like to
Right.
go to their funk. I do a lot of funk joints too, but I love that soul, especially when it's like, it's a woman on the cover.
Right.
I'm in it. Like
Yeah,
I
that's
already
what I was
know what
going to
I'm
ask
going
you
for.
next. Like, how do you know to buy that record? Could
Oh,
do
it's
you
the
bring,
cover
so
art.
you bring a turntable with you or no?
Nah, I go based off of cover art because I
Uh-huh.
feel like bringing the turntable is cheating. It's cheating.
Right.
You got to take it back to the
To
crib
your
and
home,
you got
right.
to really that's how you know you're digging right. Like, you dig, and I also look at the artist. I'm very keen to who I'm picking out. Like if let's say if it's an artist, I don't want to say no names because I don't want to like give up on
Okay.
who I be digging, but it's a particular artist that I really fuck with, whether it's jazz or soul,
Right.
and I already got a bunch of records by them, but this is a new one I haven't touched yet.
Right.
Or let's say that's not even their record; they're just doing the instrumentation on it. I'm
Got you.
picking that up
Right away.
100%.
Right
Right
away.
away. I look at who's on instrumentation. I look at what year it came out. I look
Yeah.
at what record label put it out. I look at the cover art. If it's interesting, if it's abstract, I'm picking it up.
Right. Right. Now, are you like a lot of people? They have the years. They look like something like the 70s and
I
60s,
have
or does it matter?
it used to. I would say it used to because my range was only 70s and 80s. I strayed away from like
Hmm.
digging through the 90s. The 60s I let it slide, but a lot of jazz shit from the 60s because I felt like the soul joints from the 60s, picking up those records, I never had any luck with them. Like it
Right.
would only be like the good rare ones.
Right. Right.
Um but 70s and 80s was my range.
Got you.
Now I'm doing 90s and
90s.
2000 soul and I'm flipping it crazier. So
Right. So if you go digging, right, and you bring the record home and you found a sample that somebody has used, do you disregard it or do you use it? Do you try to flip it your own way?
I'll flip my own way because honestly, like it doesn't matter. I
Hmm.
feel like if somebody already flipped it, like if it's a known joint,
Right.
like let's say like one of the ghosts flipped like Madlib or Dilla or I don't know, you name it, and
Right.
people already know about it. I stray away from it because what else could I do to it?
Right.
Like I could probably do something to pay homage, but it won't be anything that's really different. Like if I would flip it, I would flip it just like them. So I stay away from it. But if I find a different part
Right.
and nobody touch, I'm going for it.
Right.
I
Right.
feel
Right.
it's hip hop. There should be no
Yeah.
like rules on what to sample. Make the shit sound dope. That's it.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. So looping or chopping, what do you prefer?
Well, I prefer both. I
Hmm.
prefer both. Because a lot of my sound was from like drumless loops.
Okay.
Like early on in like my career in terms of releasing music, a lot of people know me from like having the drumless shit. A lot of just soul loops, just looped up. I used to get a lot, not hate on it, but like a lot of the cats who would peep the production, they'll be like, shit sound repetitive. Where's the drums at? And I'm like, they don't need to be drums in there.
Right.
Sometimes you just gotta let the loop breathe and let it speak for itself. But I've early on in my career, I never liked to loop. I would only chop.
Right.
I would only chop up the sample. I would make sure that it's getting flipped the right way.
Right. Right.
If I just left it alone the way it was, I would feel incomplete.
Right. So have you ever, because I know, when you're looping, do you ever think that you can mess up a good groove by chopping all the time?
Yeah, absolutely. You could mess up a good groove. The way I chop is by chopping through the. Ooh, I'll give this sauce up. I chop through my bass line. I
Okay.
chop through the bass line of the sample. I like to figure out my own groove and like rearrange it. But a lot of the time, if the groove is there, I leave it.
Right.
And that's the cool thing about like
Yeah.
making different sequences is that it's like, which ones sound good? Do they sound good when you transition them, or do you want to do just this beat and let this beat be a different thing? Leave it alone. Um, I feel like for me, when I'm in that mode and I hear the groove already there and I'm already chopping the drums on top of it, I'm gonna
Right.
leave it alone. If it
Right.
ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
So
Right. So
uh,
how do you feel about like what they call sample packs? Do you use those?
nah,
Not really.
I
Yeah,
don't
'cause
use
I'm
those.
not familiar with sample packs, what they really are. Like, they get a sample pack or whatever.
I do have homies. I do have homies who would like send me folders of like good gems and shit.
Right,
And it's like it's rare shit, by the way. And I got my little YouTube channels for when I'm
right,
not digging. But obviously I don't do sample packs again.
right,
Like I don't like to take the easy way out.
right.
I don't. I like to work
So
for
you
the
did, yeah.
beats that I.
You get your fingers dusty. You dig, and
Yup.
you go through the same thing. So even with the drums, you're not buying
Even with the
drum.
drums.
So your
Nah.
drums, are you going for like break beats and just chopping
Oh,
those up?
I go for a lot of break beats. I do go for I do find a lot of my shit through drum kits as well. I
Right,
guess you could say that is sample packs, but it's just drum sounds. And a
right.
lot of the shit I tweak it myself. I edit them, I pitch them. But drum breaks. I
Drum break,
look up
right,
some of my favorite drum breaks. A lot of the old school joints try to stay away from, like the most known
right,
joints.
right. Indeed.
I have a particular YouTube page that I like to go digging on. Some of
Right.
the homies know about, but I'm gonna keep it on the hush. If you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you know.
Right, right.
Um, but I get my breaks from there. I chop them up, and I
Now, do they
actually
have to
love
be
my own shit.
chopped up? Can you just loop them?
For
Do you
me,
ever just
no.
loop them?
I could, and I do it sometimes. But like, I love chopping drums. Like, that's just my stilo. I love chopping up drum breaks and throwing my own sauce to them because it just works for me. It works for me. I don't know what else to say, but
Right, because it gives it.
it
Because one thing I've noticed about like the drum breaks. See, I got tired of that finger drum and that kick, snare, and that boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes
yeah,
it works, but when you use somebody else's groove and you chop it up and then play it back in a different
yeah,
way,
yeah,
it gives your whole beat a whole nother life. You have a whole
yeah,
nother hop instead of the kick, snare, that boom, 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 boom. You know
absolutely,
what I'm
yeah,
saying? Because I'm not a
yeah,
drummer, so you know what I mean.
I've been heavily influenced by like at least my drum patterns and like the drum sounds I use.
Mm-hmm.
Really heavily been influenced by Premier and Pete Rock.
Right.
But Premier mainly because a lot of like the breaks he would use,
Mm-hmm.
especially like the samples he would pick, the way he would chop samples. I just love how everything was just sound together. Like one
Right.
of my favorite beats ever is Above the Clouds, right? Like
Mm.
Above the Clouds is crazy joint. Massive Pill, another crazy joint.
Mhm.
Um what else? You know, my skis. Like I got that. I or at least had that record, the Joe Simon joint,
Right.
the one he flipped. But yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
I pretty much just had the best drums. Like I would always love how he would have like a little ghost kick right before the snare coming
Mm-hmm.
in. Like it would just give it that knock, that feel to it. And whenever I would think like of a traditional boom bap beat, Premiere would come to mind.
Right, right. So with your drums, once you chop them up or whatever, and you got this, you separate the kicks and the snares and all that. Are you stacking those?
Mm-hmm. I layer a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll either layer them with different like sounds. Like let's say I'll layer like two snares together or
Mm-hmm.
two kicks together,
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes if I have a break but I want that shit to be a little bit more full, I'll
Mm-hmm.
throw like whatever other kits or whether other kicks or whether other snare from the kits I have and just
Mm-hmm. To make it
um
thump.
yeah, so either like just make it thump a little bit harder. But a lot of
Mm-hmm.
time I layer like the breaks on top of each other using the
Mm-hmm.
same break. It's a little of my sauce of how I do things.
Right.
The way I layer it, like I just throw like EQ on it and make
Mm-hmm.
sure that it's like it's not like too loud or it's not too like overly present. I
Right.
like it to be subtle.
Yeah, you like it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You like it subtle. So speaking of DJ Premier, did you hear the new joint he did with Nas?
Nah, people were telling me about that. I ain't get to peep. As
Okay.
of right now, I haven't really been peeping into like the a lot of the music that's been releasing. I've been caught up with just like a lot of my own shit, a lot of just
Right.
like side projects that I've been doing. So I haven't gotten to peep that. Also, everybody been talking about the new like Kendrick Lamar, Drake beef. Like,
Mhm.
there's so much music being released. There's so much
It's
going
a
on.
lot. Yes, it's a lot. It's a
It's
lot.
too much. It's too much for me to look at right now. But I'm a
Right.
peep it. I've been hearing it's ill, and
Right.
I've been wanting
So,
like no cap. I've been wanting Nas to get on Primo shit
mhm,
because that to me that's the best Nas shit
right.
out for real.
Now let me
Like
ask you a question. Like, have you noticed like it seems like those choppy type of beats are not prevalent today in the
mm-hmm.
boom bap community? You hear more like loop based beats
Loop
or the
based shit.
chops are longer. Have you noticed that?
Oh, 100%. Like it's a resurgence, you know, and I actually fuck with it like that because
Mhm.
for a while I felt like there was a stigma that the only way to approach a sample is by really rearranging it. Um
Right.
and the fact that now we got the access to just like
Hmm.
make the loop and build on top of the loop itself and like do
Right.
really either minimalistic drums or no drums at all. I find
Right.
I find that shit to be dope.
Right.
Some producers may have their own like outlook on it and their own beliefs, but for me, if it sounds dope, it sounds
Right.
dope. If it ain't, you know what I'm saying, it's not. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
I'm also someone who does that style of
Right.
production as well.
Right.
Um, and I've always been wanting to try and put that sound or that style to the forefront of hip hop and
Mhm.
try to change tradition a little bit.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I've definitely I have been noticing it, and
Mhm.
sometimes even for like me, like I don't really like hearing it too much. Sometimes I like to hear like the OG shit, you know, like
Right.
when somebody chops up a soul sample, oh my god, like
Right.
that's
Right.
amazing. Like
Yeah.
I,
'Cause
I
I think nowadays it's about chopping up a sample and making it sound like a loop, playing it
yeah.
back where it really sounds like a loop. Because I know, so do you think those choppy type beats that don't sound like a loop, do you think they're relevant today?
It depends on like what type of scene it is. I feel
Mhm.
like let's say if it's like I don't know, like a Griselda project, you know,
Mhm.
like it's a West Side Gun joint. It would I guess it would just have to depend on the type of song, like who's on
Right.
it.
Right.
But like the traditional boom bap joints, I don't think it'll get as much as attention as just like a
Right.
regular, like I don't know, like 4 bar loop
Mhm.
Derringer cooked up or like
Right.
Alchemist cooked up for West Side Gun, you know.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, and it all depends on like the context behind it. I feel like
Mhm.
they're not as prevalent today,
Right.
but you know, a lot of producers I feel like are leaning towards whatever sample that they've been
Mhm.
digging. You know,
Mhm.
like now we've been getting a lot more creative, you know, we've been stepping outside the box.
Right.
Um, I fuck with it like that. I just as long as you dig in the right places, that's
Mhm.
all. It doesn't
Right.
matter how it's constructed to me.
Because I noticed like back then it was all about you were showing your real skill as a beat maker, chopping it up, taking stabs from this record, that record, or whatever. Nowadays it seems like you're showing your skill for your ear. It's just
Yep.
finding dope shit for the MC to rhyme to. It's not necessarily you did this and that, a whole bunch of this and that to it. You
Nah.
just found something or you looped it irregularly. That's in an
Yeah.
irregular way, which I think we have to thank Rock Marciano for that too.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel
You
like
know,
Rock Marciano's the godfather of like the sound we have today.
right.
And it's 100% true. Like it's
Mhm.
not based on skill level no more, which is no disrespect, but it's based
Right.
on ear. And I
Right.
feel like having that ear is way more important than how well you're chopping up a sample or like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying, just doing these crazy drum patterns, crazy drum joints. I remember um I remember I was watching like a video of like, you know, one of the NPC heads,
Mhm.
like the kid was just going crazy on the pads
Right.
and just hitting a whole bunch of sounds. And like to me, you know, I don't think the beat sounded too clean,
Mhm.
but you know, it's just like it's almost like a talent show. It's like, yo, look what I could do. and
Right.
it's not really like I could hear anybody rapping on that. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like it's a difference. It's a real
It's more
difference.
for like a show, like for him to rock at a show to do something like
Yeah,
that.
you know what I'm saying?
But
Like, and
not yet.
there's beats and there's producers who are like that. There's producers who are like, I want to make beats for myself, not make
Mm-hmm.
beats for other rappers.
Mm-hmm.
Me, on the other hand, I'm more so towards the middle because
Right.
just now I've been starting to make beats for myself and just like
Mm-hmm.
just make the beat to make the beat. But
Right.
I've always been making like the rapper's producer, try and make
Right.
beat for people to rap on.
Right. Because, and I always say this in every interview. I said there's different types of producers. Like you have the technical producer, right? He's not out there doing beats for everybody, but he's selling you drum kits. He's doing
Mm-hmm.
tutorials, but he's so
Mm-hmm.
technical. You know what I mean? So a lot of their beats are not the dopest, but you can learn some tricks to make your shit dope. You know,
Doper. Yep,
doper.
absolutely.
And then you got the feeling producer like yourself, who won't be really technically advanced, but they go
Mhm.
by the feeling, and those are the ones that are out in the world, producing for the underground today. You know what I mean? It's all about
Absolutely.
it sounds good. Then you have
Absolutely.
the beat maker who just makes instrumental tapes, right? Just makes instrumental albums and just puts those out. Then you also have those beat star guys who have their beat day. It's like almost hurry up and buy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just consumer like
Right.
consumer based producers. I feel like
Mhm.
I don't want to like sound like this type of like person like there's only one real way, but I feel like that just I can't do that. I can't just be like the consumer base. I do sell beats, but like I don't want to just
Just sell it to
be
any old body.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like you gotta be
anybody just
dope
buy
about
your
it.
shit. And you're selling it for like what, $25, $50. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
know what I'm saying?
like
Like
beat
it's just
abuse.
that
They're selling it over the same beat over and over and over again. You
yeah, and
know?
it's all being leased, and it's like
Right.
you're not really getting nowhere with it. You're just gonna be stagnant. That's how I felt. Like if
Mhm.
I were to do that, that's how I would feel, honestly.
Right.
Um, but I'd rather work with dope artists. I like, my
Right.
catalog. I feel like it speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
From working with the likes of
Mm-hmm.
people like Stack Skrilla, Starker, All Hell YT, Left Lane.
Right.
Got a project coming out with Boney J coming out soon. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
working with those cats. Oh, my guy Wolf. Working with those cats. Like they are the reason why my name it is today, just releasing out projects. And now I'm able to sell product
Mm-hmm.
that, what I'm saying, it's gonna make me money, but also I'm working with other dope artists in the scene who I wasn't familiar with before.
So how does that take place? You just do for you to get your name out there. Is it, hey, just giving away free beats to these guys?
All it takes, to be honest, what I feel like the key thing is,
Mm-hmm.
you got to go to shows. You just got to go to shows.
Mm-hmm.
Before, for me, it was just like really reaching out to artists, reaching out to a lot of people, and just try to like,
So
just
so
be like, yo, check my
onto
beats
the
out.
show, you would have a CD in hand or a flash and say, here. How did that work?
It's definitely a little bit more modern. So, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just going to the show and like
Mm-hmm.
connecting with certain people who are artists, show them your work, but like build
Right.
a genuine friendship, build a like
Gotcha.
genuine something genuine beforehand that makes them want to check your shit out.
Right.
And sooner or later you start getting booked for shows. I've been doing nonstop like beat shows and just performances. I got a performance coming up in like May 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
And then another performance after that on like May 25th.
Right.
And it's because I've been so prevalent in the beat scene as a performer, like
Mm-hmm.
more people are recognizing the name, more people are checking my shit out,
Right.
and then
So
networking, obviously.
like, all right, so you're saying going to the shows, making connections. So how do you know when to charge this person for a beat or when just to give them some beats because you want to get your name out there? Is it
I feel like
depends on the person's status or is their talent? What makes
I
you
feel like it depends on like Depends on the relationship you have with the person.
Mhm,
Like, is it strictly business? Is this
mhm,
like really like genuine? And like, also, does this person want to like pay for the beat? A lot of times, I
mhm.
have people who insist on paying for the beat,
Right,
and which is dope as fuck. And
right.
I'm able to like make extremely amazing product out of it. But
Mhm,
it all depends on your relationship with them. Like, you figure
right.
out that type of relationship beforehand. I will always say try to sell your beats, especially to producers. Like, now in this day and age, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, everybody's getting paid off of this shit. And as a
Yeah,
producer, you
really?
definitely get paid.
Because I'm wondering, so many people making beats with underground sample based beat makers? Is there really money being made as a can we make money
You
as a
can.
sample based beat maker?
That's my whole aspect is that you can. You just have to find where to make it. And
Right.
like, there's enough money in the pot for all of us theoretically. You know what I'm
Because
saying?
I'm
There's
like,
people.
are people buying? You think are these MCs buying beats today? Because like a Hus Kingpin
I don't
probably
think
got
so.
so many people in his inbox sending him shit. Why would he buy my beat?
I don't think so, but I feel like a lot of the times these the producers in this day and age, they need to learn how, or not learn, but do their research on how to publish their shit. If they're not getting paid from the actual beat that they're selling,
Mm-hmm.
they could get royalties from it. And I feel like you're gonna make money in the long run if you work with someone like Hus Kingpin and you giving free beats to Hus Kingpin.
Right.
The people who listen to Hus Kingpin gonna want that Hus Kingpin sound, obviously. So
Right.
they gonna go over to that producer. Yo, what's
Mm-hmm.
up? How much you charge? Da, da, da. I charge this. Boom, boom, boom. Let's work.
Right.
And that's how it was like for me. You know, a lot of people wanted the sound of the artist that I would work with,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd ask for that sound. I gave them a price tag, and that's how it is. I
Right.
wouldn't
Now
say
these people.
oh,
Right.
I
So when
wouldn't
these
say
people
this
approached you, were they name brand people or were they like trying to come up? Were they the ones on the come up?
come up, name brand people, whoever. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the time, it depends on who, what your demographic is. You know, as a
Mm-hmm.
producer, you shouldn't solely rely on the rapper to base your demographic. You know, you should be as versatile as possible to widen that demographic and to widen
Right.
your clientele.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's what I feel. Like, that's why I don't just strictly make boom bap. I'm stepping outside my comfort zone to like
Mm-hmm.
just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I still keep the essence though. I'm gonna still keep the
Right.
essence 100%,
Mm-hmm.
but making shit that's able to like broaden the horizon, bring in
Gotcha.
more clientele, bring in more artists, and just be experimental.
So when you
So
say experimental, you're going to be starting to play more music, or you still going to be sampling?
when I'm being experimental, I'm starting shit that like I haven't really done before. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it could be anything from like trap, it could be drill, it could be house. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt me really to experiment in that sound. You
Mm-hmm.
know, some people may not fuck with it, some people may be against it. I'm always for vouching for it because
Mm-hmm.
that brings in new connections.
Right.
And a lot of the times you don't know where those connections could lead you. You're never
Right.
gonna forget where you started from. You're always gonna have access to that.
Right.
You could
And
always go back on that path.
and because we're sampling, how do we publish the stuff when we're actually quote unquote taking other people's music? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's always been my problem. But you know, just making sure it's, I ain't gonna cap. Just make sure that's just like
Mm-hmm.
untraceable for real.
Right.
Like, that's what I go for. I make sure that shit's untraceable.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's hard
Right.
because you know people dig in a lot of the same spots,
Mm-hmm.
but you can never go wrong if you know where you're digging. Just know where you're digging at, know where
Right.
you're sampling from. I stay away from Motown.
Gotcha.
I stay away from Motown. Try to stay away from Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the, you know, the CTI. I'm like half and half on, but I know where I'm going digging for. I know what I'm
Right.
trying to
Right.
dig up.
Right. So like that era of getting 10,000, 20,000 a beat is over with.
In boom bap standards,
Yeah. Boom bap
If,
standards.
if you would name like the Alchemist, if you're a name like,
Mhm.
let's even say Derringer or Conductor, even Madlib, like I feel like those are the ones who are, even Rock Marciano, maybe, those are the ones that's
You
charging
get
like that.
that much for a beat. I mean, because you got to think about it. Records are not really selling like that, especially in the boom bap lane. Are they?
Yeah,
People are not really selling music, so they're not going to get a return like back in the day where the boom bap artists were going platinum and Just Blaze was 50,000, and
yeah.
that era. You know what I mean?
But
I
that
think
was
that
the
was
that's
over.
because that was the mainstream. That
Mhm.
boom bap was the mainstream. Now
Mhm.
our mainstream is trap and drill, and those
Right.
that's the price tag that we're getting
For
on those
them.
beats now.
Right.
Um, Especially like in royalties, like
Mhm.
it's probably even making way more, to be
Mhm.
honest.
Right.
The
But in the
problem,
boom bap world, not really, right? This,
not really, and
yeah.
it's okay. Like I fuck with that. Like I'm a rapper too. Like I like the fact that it's
Mhm.
low. You know what I'm saying, low price. The
Mhm.
problem is that it's how, like what you said. How are we able to monetize something that's
Right.
really not that like you can't really monetize that with sampling, it's
Right.
sample based. Like we're not. However, we are constructing the songs because we are the
Right.
producers. We are
Right.
songwriters as well. So there's ways around it.
Mhm.
Just do your research. I still
Right.
gotta do my research, obviously,
Right.
to really understand how to fully monetize it 100%. But
So,
like
do
I
you?
feel like the real route is just keep releasing music. Like if I had advice to anybody, just keep
Mhm.
releasing shit. Find a
Right.
dope artist to connect with
Mhm.
and release as many projects as you can, either with that one artist or everyone in that camp.
Mhm.
Build that catalog.
See, my thing I found with when I do that, they don't want to do what it takes to really push the music. They think just making the music and putting it on and advertising it on their IG is enough. Like they don't want to pay for videos. You know what I mean? And I found
Nah,
like it's a waste of time.
nah. You gotta go full force. Like you got to,
Right.
and like that's the real way.
You
Honestly, like the internet in this day and age, it works for somebody. It works for a small percentage to just release their shit on the internet and people just tune
right.
in. But a lot of times you gotta go hard. You
Right.
have to. You have
Right.
to be at
Right. And
shows. You have to be constantly networking. You have to have
you have to invest
videos.
yourself, put money behind yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's gonna return in some way, shape, or form.
Right. But it may
Yeah,
not be right away, but in the long run, it will.
in the
And that's
long
the
run,
right. So that's the issue I've been having when I work with a lot of these people. They don't want to, and they don't want to invest in themselves financially to make it happen.
yeah, and
They
look
don't want
what
to pay
like
for features. They don't want to, they don't want to pay to get a good video done. They don't want
nah,
to
yeah.
pay to put it on Parker, to put their video on Parker, or
It's it's just
things like that.
it's the problem, and the problem with that is now they have to work twice as hard, or now they have to do twice the work, and
Right.
in order to get where they're at, and it's gonna take way longer.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like if you investing in yourself
Right.
and you got a videographer you pay for, there's
Right.
videos getting done, music
Mhm.
videos, especially in the underground scene,
Right.
still be going you gonna get a good amount of views, get a good
Right.
lot of traction. People peep that shit. Invest in getting vinyls
Vinyl
done,
rights. You see, that's the issue I'm having with some of the
merch.
artists I work with. They're not. They don't
They
want to
just
do that.
doing the bare, and if they just doing the bare minimum, that's cool. But that's not how you work. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You want people who
Right.
who's gonna get
Who willing to
lofi out to the bag.
invest in themselves and put that money behind themselves and actually, not expect everything for free. You know,
Absolutely, absolutely. Because ain't shit gonna come free for y'all. You know what I
nah,
mean? It's
nah,
about the
nah. You
work,
got
about
to,
the
you got
shit.
to invest in yourself. So that's why I'm
Mhm.
at a standstill. Like I don't want to work with the find a regular dude. Now it's like, okay, let me get it to these guys that's already out in the underground doing their thing. Let me just give them free beats. If they like
That's
my shit, you know what I mean? Boom. And that way I can build my brand. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
things
It's all
like that.
about
So that's where I'm at with it.
I feel like building the resume is what I always say is more important, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and then worry about everything else after that.
Right,
Because
right,
once you
right,
have that resume, really nobody could tell you shit. Like they
right,
can't say you haven't did anything. Like for
right,
me, I've done fully produced more than like 15 to 20 projects, all fully
right,
produced by Benji Socrates, and more
right,
coming soon, right?
right.
That's a lot of fucking projects on the resume.
So,
However, when people see that
mhm,
and people realize that, then it's like, oh nah, he be on his shit. When I'm
mhm,
about to do a Benji project, I'm gonna try and get a vinyl for it. Oh, if I'm about to do a Benji project, I'm gonna try and shoot a video for it.
mhm,
That's the type of conversations I want to be having when I'm working on a
right,
project with somebody.
right, right. So, do you prefer to sell a beat, or would you rather get with the artist and y'all do the splits?
Either or is fine. Honestly,
Mhm.
like I don't prefer one more or the other because I feel like even the splits, sometimes I just check DistroKid and that shit just be blessing me out of nowhere.
Right.
But honestly, selling the beats are always good just because
Mhm.
you name your price and you know what I'm saying, like the money's up front and center.
Right.
I always think like it's about the project. I always try to put a project ahead of the time. Instead of it just being a song, I try to be the focus of a project. And
Mm.
the reason for that is because the resume is the most important part. Like if you're gonna work
Right.
with me, let's do a project. Let's not
A
just do a
project. Right.
song.
And
Songs
that's
get
what I mean.
overlooked.
Right.
Projects don't.
Right. Yeah,
For
I
real.
prefer to do that. I've been doing that ever since I started making beats. I've always done full projects or whatever with heads. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And it allows for like allows for a good amount of creative control as a producer. Like you would have some saying certain shit. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like just recently, like my bro Boney J, he
Hmm.
tapped in and was initially just a client. You know what I'm saying? Just dude I sold beats to. We lived in California. His shit was dope. I
Hmm.
wanted to work with him. We got a project done. And now
Hmm.
look at that. Like from his investment into like buying beats for me, and he's on the other side of the United States.
Hmm.
He's over here doing like our shit's
So
on Rosenberg. You know what I'm saying? Our shit just got played on real late
right.
on Hot 97. You know what I'm saying?
So
Like
so in the beginning he bought beats. He was just buying beats from you, right?
just bought the pack, and we did a project, and
Right.
that's and it we developed more of a relationship. You know what I'm
So
saying?
now
Like he
he
came
doesn't
out
have
here
to
in New
pay
York.
for it. So now he's not paying for beats. You're just giving him beats, and y'all gonna do the splits, right?
Now we're just working. Now we're just working. I just want
Mm.
to work. That's it. Like, yo,
Right.
what's good now? But now our friendship is a lot more genuine, and it's
Right.
not just
Just business. Right.
it's more than just a client. Now it's
Right.
like, yo, it's my homie
Right.
type shit. He
So
comes to
what
New
you're
York to link
saying
up.
nowadays, you can build relationships just through business at first, just
Yeah,
by business. And I think
yeah,
most artists and producers respect that. Instead of
20.
people trying to have their hand out, reach out, yo, let's work. And I'm like, I don't even know you. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly. You know what I'm
But,
saying? Sometimes it's about the approach, and
right,
like it depends on the type of relationship that you have
right,
with the artist, with the producer, with the rapper,
right.
on whatever side of the coin you end up
Mhm.
on. But
Mm,
me being me, right? Like
mhm,
I know myself. I know the type of people I want to be around. I know the type of
right,
people I want to make music with. A
right,
lot of the time, I try to gauge on where
mhm,
a relationship or friendship can end up and
right,
see
mm,
like like how much energy I need to spend in it.
right,
What is this doing for me? How is it going to
mhm,
benefit me? How is it going to benefit us? How's it, you know what I'm
right,
saying? How the people going to see it?
right. So
Um,
if a random guy rapper just calls you and say, "Yo, let's work. I rhyme, you make beats, let's work." I mean,
yeah.
you
Listen, if he's dope, I'll peep that shit. It doesn't
right.
matter who fucking random
Hmm.
little motherfucker from wherever the fuck they
Hmm.
from.
Hmm.
I'm gonna peep their shit, and if it's dope,
Right.
I'm like, yo, let's work. Let's work.
And free of charge, you're gonna give him beats, and y'all just gonna
Not
work.
free of charge. Like
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
that's
charge.
what I'm saying. Some
I'll
people,
charge. I'll be like, yo, your shit is dope, but this is my price. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because I don't know you like
You don't
that.
have a relationship with them,
Yeah, I
right?
don't have a relationship. Like once I build that relationship, once I build that like rapport with them,
Mm-hmm.
then it's a little bit different. Then I'm able to like be like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, I just made this shit. What you think about it? All right,
Right.
that's for you. It's
Mm.
about building those connections first before just slanging beats out. Like if it was
Right.
of a higher name and of a higher status,
Mm-hmm.
I would always say like just send beats through because that's gonna make you more bread. That's gonna be better.
Right.
That's
So
gonna be more
gun.
beneficial to you in the long run. It's about
So
what's
West
beneficial.
Side Gun come at you. You
Oh,
you you're just throwing him beats, right?
I'm sending the pack.
Right. 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 Right.
If I get Westside Gun DM tomorrow, like I'm gonna have the
Right.
pack ready by like 9 for real.
Have you reached out to him?
I haven't, but like every like I've worked with artists who are adjacent to Westside Gun, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to like be the person to reach out. I'd rather let what I'm saying, like whatever connection be made come to me,
Right.
because what I'm saying, eventually is gonna get there. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know the names probably like our names probably cross paths or something like that.
Right.
Like we've I've definitely seen Westside Gun live.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he's one of the goats to me.
Right.
Um, it'll be crazy to connect with Wes. It'll be
Mm-hmm.
crazy for real.
Right. 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 Right.
But
Cool.
I work with I know a lot of his producers. I've worked with
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Wes is pretty dope for real.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He's pretty dope and whatnot. So what's on the menu next for you?
Time will tell. Literally,
Mm-hmm.
that's the project coming out. Me and my homie Boney J. It's
You
gonna come
rhyming
out.
on it or just beats?
Just beats, fully produced by me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have a couple of projects I'm rhyming on.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna come out soon. I don't really have a date. It's like what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying. Whenever I feel like dropping, I'm gonna feel like dropping that. But time will tell. Is gonna drop in the springtime. So if what I'm saying, y'all want to peep that, it'll be on all streaming platforms. Gonna try
Right.
and get vinyl. I got a project in the works with someone really dope. I don't want to spill the beans, but you
Right.
guys are gonna keep it. That's gonna be either for the summertime or for the fall.
Right.
Um, I, what I'm saying, just more shows to come, more projects to come for me, and just
Right.
stay tuned.
Cool. So yo, before I let you go, let everybody know where they can hear your music, give them your IG links and everything.
Word. So I'm Benji Socrates. That is BenjiSocrate $. But you can find me on IG at Benji Socrates, Benji underscore SOCRATES.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook Benji Socrates. Twitter, I believe it's just Benji Socrates. Um all my music's on all DSBs. I got Destiny's Cove is on Spotify. Deluxe Drugs is on Spotify, Apple Music, all that shit. Any project you could look up my discography for is gonna be on all streaming platforms. Also
Yeah,
got
that's
vinyls out, CDs. Just tap in
word.
for real.
Listen, I want to thank you. I know we had a little technical difficulty
Yeah,
last time. The phone was acting all
yeah,
crazy.
shit was
I think
tweaking, bro. Apologies.
yeah,
That's why I'm on the laptop now. Like I didn't want to like do too
yeah,
much
yeah,
with my
yeah,
phone.
yeah. And we finally got to finish up this dope ass interview and whatnot. So, I just
Well, I
want to thank you
appreciate you too,
for
man.
coming on. Yeah, of
Appreciate you,
course.
yo. You dope as I fuck with the whole series, man. For
Yeah,
real.
yeah. It's strictly for my diggers, so it's for us.
It's
You
for
know what I
us.
mean?
It's for the culture,
Yeah,
man. It's for
it's for
us,
the
man. If
cultures,
you
for the
listen,
making culture. Yeah,
if I wanted to give a little advice to the producers up and coming, like if you a producer up and coming for real, and you want to learn how to like maneuver in the scene, you want to learn what your next step is. Tune into Strictly for My Diggers for real. Like this is
absolutely,
gonna be the
absolutely.
gauge
Right,
for the gems, the knowledge.
right.
Just listen, what I'm saying, roll up a spliff, have your MPC next to you, and just
Yeah,
vibe. That's it.
yeah, and just vibe. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We celebrate you, and then you give out the jewels. I know the questions that ask. This is not a generic
Oh hell no.
interview. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We talking
You asked some
shop.
great
You know what I
questions. For
mean?
real, yeah.
We talking shop. So there's no page like this. You know what I'm saying?
For
So
real.
that's better appreciate what I'm bringing to the game. You know what I mean?
Word, for real,
Definitely.
man. But yo, it's Benji Socrates, you know what I'm saying? Like always dropping knowledge on this and peace to everybody. Much
All
love
right.
to y'all.
All right. Peace.
Peace, salute.
I don't work for Marshalls. I don't pump no gas for no motherfucker. I don't do construction work. I don't do none of that shit on the side. I put all my chips into this hip hop shit, into this production shit. So at the end of the day, I want niggas to respect that shit. And respect that shit like how they respect going inside of Ralphie. They buy their clothes, because you can't negotiate with Ralphie, can you? Nope. Alright, you can't negotiate with what's the other Dior? You can't negotiate with them niggas. You can't negotiate with none of these niggas. You can't negotiate with Pharrell, can you? Nope. Don't play that shit with me. That's all I'm trying to say. No hate. Excuse my passion. I just feel passionate about that, and I'm speaking for other cats because there's other producers that feel the same way. You know, and it's just like it's a respect level. It's like, you know, I feed my kid with this shit. I pay my rent with this shit.